Good evening. You can hear me well? Oh, great. My name is Dr. George Ed Bennett, and I have this really special privilege. I get to be the pastor here at Reno First United Methodist Church. And I've been here for over a year now, so I've seen the second series of Art Town concerts, but we've been doing this here since Art Town began. How many of you have come here more than 10 years? Okay, more than 20 years. There's a few of you, okay. And so we're committed to creating this wonderful space for musicians with great acoustics and beautiful scenery and air conditioning. Isn't that great? Now, if you want to hear this again, it is being live streamed while it's happening. So you could just look up Reno First UMC on YouTube or on Facebook, and you'll be able to see this played back, or someone that's at home right now can see it right now because it's coming on live. And so check that out. But I want to tell you a little bit about the church. This is the very first expression of Christian faith in the Reno area. It started in 1868, 2 buildings ago before this one. This building right here is built in 1925 and is poured concrete with 3-foot thick walls. It's a really amazing building, and it's a beautiful place to go for music. You'll have lots of members of the congregation to talk to. It was Linda that was hosting you on the way in the door, and then there is a parlor right over here, and Squeek's friend is going to be selling CDs over here that you can come right after the concert. There's also refreshments, and there's cookies and things, and so we want you to come here after the concert. You get to talk to Squeek and to Mike and tell them how much you appreciated their music. There's a few things I wanted you to know about that are emergency related. One is how to get out of the building. And so you'll see a green exit sign right over here. If you go out this door, it will lead you to a side door that gets you out onto West Street. The way that most of you came in was through this center aisle, and that leads you out to First Street, but there's stairs there. And if you want to exit without stairs, you can go through that side door here or this big double set of doors here, make one left and then another left, and you'll be right out there on First Street. One more emergency, there's bathrooms. And so we have 3 bathrooms that are on this level, and when you go into the parlor, you see open doors that have lit lights there. That's where the bathrooms are. There's 2 on this lower floor, and then if you want a big bathroom for handicap access, you just wind up the ramp a little bit, and you get into this area with a great big bathroom. So those are the different things that we're doing there. We have an ability to validate your parking. So if you parked at the Sierra Galleria for parking, we have validation stickers, and you just get those from Linda in the back. If you want to know more about this church, that is a progressive faith community that follows the traditions of Methodism, and we have this motto of doing justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God. And if you want to know more about this is in the pew. For everyone that's not in the front row, you can just pull one of these and take it home with you. And if you want to know about our last concert, this is our 5th of 7 concerts, but we have one more coming. Get one of these, and it'll tell you that Red Tango is next week at Tuesday at 7 o'clock. But today, I just want to introduce you to Squeek, Steele, and Mike Ansotegui. I think I said it right. Mike Ansotegui. And they're going to just knock your socks off with some great music. So help me welcome Squeek and Mike.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, you can go back. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. I have not been here since 2020, but I'm one of the people that could put my hand up when you said 10 years, because I started playing here in 2008 and played right up until 2020, until the pandemic. And this is my first invitation back. And the first concert that I played here, we actually did it in that loop outside. We moved a piano out there. Yeah, there's some people nodding their heads. Okay. All right, first of all, I want to introduce my percussionist who's walked back and getting ready to, play the beat. And his name is Mike Ansotegui, and we have known each other for many years. He's a musician up in Virginia City, played 25 years as the Comstock Cowboys drummer, and now plays with another group up there. And then I want to thank Pastor George and the staff and everybody included who helped us, put this together today with all this is very exciting to, I feel like I should go to my son who's in New York. Hi, Eric. But maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. Anyway, just one last thing. Tonight's program was listed as ragtime piano and 1920s jazz. And we are going to start with a set of 1920s jazz. It'll be songs you know, and you'll say, wait, is this jazz? Well, it's not 1950s jazz. It's in the 20s, the songs were played, there were Dixieland bands that played them, and they were, that was considered jazz. Did you have a...
I forgot to say something, yeah, so I'll just get on back up here. You keep talking. Go ahead.
Really? All right, that's part one. Part two is I'm going to play some ragtime on the piano, and then part three is going to be us finishing with a second set of music from the 1920s. All right? And if you know the music, we know how old you are.
And so one of the things that this church is committed to is making sure that musicians not only get this opportunity to play here, but that they get paid. And so you saw an opportunity to donate to the musicians on the way in the door, but some of you might have missed that. So about a third of the way through the concert, we'll pass the baskets and give you another opportunity, and just to make sure that you can show all the appreciation you want to show. So enjoy the concert.
2. Thank you. And I forgot to mention, if you know the words, you're welcome to sing along or hum along or tap your foot, or clap your hands, whatever. And you will know some of these. That was the Charleston, which was very popular in the 20s. Also, if you want to get up and dance, but beware of the step. All right, so the next one is one of my favorite songs. And if you're over 60, you'll know it. Actually, if you're over 60, you'll know all of these. 2, 3. Thank you. So the next thing I'm going to play is a song called Muskrat Ramble. And I don't know if you will know that. It's right out of the 20s, but I'll probably tell you the rest of the story afterwards. Because you may, if you've lived in the 60s and the 70s, you know, even if you were young, you may recognize the chorus of it. Because the chorus was stolen by Country Joe and the Fish for a song that they created at that time. But this is written in the 20s, and then it appeared in another form in the 60s. So, Muskrat Ramble. Let's see. So did you recognize it? It goes, you know, and it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Yeah, and that. So the story is that I forget the name of the person who actually wrote the song, the man, but his daughter discovered, you know, 40 years after he'd written it, that, and she was pretty old by then, that in the 60s, somebody had used this song to make, you know, a recording and make money off of it. And it was probably in the late 80s, early 90s, she sued him and took him to court. And the judge said, look, you waited, you waited like 50 years or something, you know, so he just threw it out. So Country Joe and the Fish didn't get sued for it. How many people remember that song? Oh, great. All right, this is Hard-Hearted Hannah. And not all the songs in the jazz era of the 20s were this tempo I've been playing. This is more kind of bluesy, Hard-Hearted Hannah. The Vamp of Savannah, GA, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. The next one is my dad's favorite song. This is Margie. This is one I kind of started like a little rubato in. Thank you. Thank you. So I think Pastor George mentioned that at some point they'd be passing around the baskets. And while they're doing that, I want to talk to you about ragtime. So, and what I want to talk to you about, I know that with the advent of the Sting in 1973, the American public became aware of Scott Joplin and ragtime. And what has been forgotten, and ragtime, what do I want to say here? There are many ragtime festivals around the country. It is alive and well, and some of these festivals are so fun to go to. There's not only tons of ragtime, really incredible young people playing ragtime. There are silent movies, there are dancers, there's dance instruction. I'm going to be playing in one of them in a couple of weeks, Sutter Creek Ragtime Festival in Sutter Creek, California, and then West Coast Ragtime I've been invited to play in November. So here's what I want to bring to you while we have this break. There were around 450 women ragtime composers in the last century between 1890 and 1930, and they were completely left out of all the books. You go buy a ragtime book now, there won't be a woman's rag in it. That could be if it's maybe published in the last 10 years, but basically you're not going to find women's rags. These women were musically trained, lived mostly in the Midwest, worked in the five and dime store playing the sheet music that sold. They also played silent movies, and with their children sitting on the bench with them. They played, what else besides silent movies? And a lot of them were music teachers. And one of them I remember, Mae Francis Aufderheide, one of her rags, one of her pieces was so catchy that William Jennings Bryan used it for his presidential campaign, I think about 1908. He did not win, but he did use her song. So in the ragtime set that I'm going to be playing, I will be, doing some women's rags and some men's rags. We still have women composers currently that write ragtime. And I do play some contemporary rags now and then, but today I'm going to stick with the first 2 decades of the 20th century when ragtime was so popular. A lot of these women also were in vaudeville and, in show business in some way or another, but many of them just taught at local music schools. So anyway, here we go. We're starting, though, with Scott Joplin, one of my favorite rags. It's called Pineapple Rag. Scott Joplin is really the father of ragtime. So now turning to a woman's rag, this is called Smash Up, and it's by a woman named Gwendolyn Stevenson. Thank you. The next one I'm going to play is another Scott Joplin that I really love. It's called Elite Syncopations. And in case you're not familiar with ragtime, usually in a rag there are 4 sections, some maybe 3 sometimes or 5 sometimes, but 4 sections, totally unrelated thematically. There's a different tune in every one, okay? They're not related that way. Ragtime also, as opposed to things like jazz, you do not improvise in ragtime. You might play a little extra thing at the end or, do something, but you do not improvise in jazz. You set the melody and then you improvise on that melody. You don't do that in ragtime. Ragtime is never sung. Occasionally you'll find an arrangement where there's some words to it, but it's never been sung. It grew out of the African American community in New Orleans. Also, it was influenced by the Caribbean, people in the Caribbean, and it actually has a relationship to European white people's music, classical music, because the 4 sections I mentioned are very similar, in fact identical, not in melody, to John Philip Sousa's marches. Each one in the march, there's a different part in each of the marches. So they borrowed things from each other, and it's America's first popular music. Ragtime is, so it's kind of unique in that way. All right, Elite Syncopations, and I love the last section. I hope I can play it right. I might play it twice if I really like it, Okay. Yikes. Thank you. Thank you. The next rag is also going to be by a woman. Her name is Grace Boland. This is 1902, and it's kind of an elegant rag. It's called Smoky Topaz, and it has a melody midway through that doesn't necessarily sound like a popular song identical, but is like something that could be a very beautiful popular song. So here's Grace Boland's 1902 Smoky Topaz. Thank you. Thank you. This is a rag by George Botsford, probably around 1906. He was a composer of ragtime, and he also worked with Irving Berlin and wrote songs. And it's called Black and White, and it's one of the easier, if you want to start out with an easy rag that makes you look really showy, just the way it's written, and a lot of rags at that time had this particular rhythmic element in them. So this is called Black and White Rag, George Botsford. I got to think it. So for the last rag of the ragtime set, I'm going to play a rag by a woman named Luella Lockwood Moore. It's called Paprika. And you know, when you play a piece, it often tells just up at the top of the music, it'll say, you know, adagio, like slowly or moderately. And this says it's a very hot rag. So. Thank you. So we're going to go back to our second set of music from the 20s, some of which you will know, and feel free to sing along or whatever, hum along. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good song. The next thing I'm going to play is called Limehouse Blues, and it really isn't at a blues tempo. I'm not sure about the title, but it's a great, fun thing to play. So here is Limehouse Blues. C to the Thank you. The great thing about playing an instrument is the verb, play. I mean, I don't say to people, well, I got to go work the piano tonight. You know, it's about having fun with it. You know, if you can get to a point with your lessons where you know something and and it's fun to play it, it's a way to meditate without having, you know, and to go into another space. And it's very calming and it's exciting. And one thing about it is it's more fun to play with somebody, though. It's great to have somebody here. And I'm so grateful to have Mike here. All right, so he gets to kind of show off a little bit in the next song, okay? And a lot of times when I'm playing one of these songs and you think, you think, I don't know that part of it. It's because I'm playing the verse to the song. And what you know is the chorus. Like as time goes by, it has a beautiful verse in it. You know, this is the chorus, right? So it has a verse before that. So when you hear something that's unfamiliar, you know, hang on and wait for the good part to come. So this is T for 2, okay? And I'll do my little 2. Thank you. So I'm going to do one ballad that everybody should be familiar with, and I'm going to play the verse again. And this is called Stardust, and it's from the 20s also. So. Thank you. So we're going to finish with another little drum solo here, right? This is Sweet Georgia Brown. Thank you. I don't know if we should try Bonanza without having done it. What do you think? Da, 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 da. Can you do it? Can you do it? All right. Okay. So just before we came out, I said, you know, I always play Bonanza at the Bucket of Blood. Should we play Bonanza? So, I mean, that's for Virginia City, and yeah, so we're going to play Bonanza. Hey, I do a whole thing. I do Bonanza, then I do in the same tempo, Oh Susanna, then I do, let's see. I'm not telling you.
Don't tell me.
And then we'll go back to Bonanza at the end. So we do it, yeah, okay, and then we do two folk songs. Okay. I forgot, you can hear everything. Actually, what I was saying was, can you meet me after the show? The wife didn't come. Well, no. The girl. All right. I do a little intro to this. Okay, it goes. Thank you, thank you. Come out and hold my hand and go, "Ah!" That was great. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming and supporting live music. We're so alive. All right. I want to say hi to some of you, so just come on up. Okay.